Hello, beautiful souls. So, do you want to know where the concept of the Jedi came from? I mean, we've seen it in Star Wars, we've seen it everywhere. It's become a part of our culture, and it's so ingrained in us that we want to emulate them to such a degree that we have these innate abilities to perform these Jedi acrobats and these Jedi skills. But what if I told you that the concept of the Jedi is over 70,000 years old, okay? The symbol of the Jedi can be most commonly found in Egyptian culture, some of their artifacts and things of that nature. So it really was ingrained in their culture. Throughout royalty, throughout the Egyptian religion, the Osirian religion is what it was called. And so the first thing I want to show you is, and actually this information can be found in the Sacred Symbols of Mu, and this is Sacred Symbols of Mu Part 8. So we're going to talk about Jedi stuff, some of the fascinating imagery. And so if you guys are familiar with the pillars or have seen some of the ancient pillars of Egypt, they could be found here. And some of this may be reminiscence of Tesla coil energy and how it was created. And so most of the pillars that you will see, and actually this is some of the symbols, and I'll get into that in a second, but the pillars were really designed to begin to send out large quantities of energy. The pillars were also seen as great protectors, generals, or foundations. But the true essence, this goes from Egypt back to Atlantis, back to Mu, the first civilization. I found this fascinating. And the reason why it's fascinating, because this is very ancient wisdom and technology that has been utilized through and been renamed and everything, for years. And so part of what has happened is, we have this belief now, or this idea, I want to do what the Jedis do, and I want to, have telekinesis and move things with my mind and all these things. And it's all possible. It's very possible. I've seen people do it. And so what I want to get to the root is that, when you have the Mu culture, the Mu civilization that's over 70,000 years, one of the first things that I want to go back to is, I believe it was the part 2 where I talked about the square and how important the square is in their culture, because it represents the 4 primary forces, the 4 elements, the cardinal points, whatever you want it to, whatever context it is put in. And so in part 6, I even talk about the spiral and how the spiral plays an important part of this, and how if you are going clockwise, it is going to, and if you're going counterclockwise, it is moving away from. So it's important to understand the directions in which everything is moving in the depictions of the symbols. And even in the pillars, there's one important piece that was very key in helping me to understand all of this. And if you guys are familiar with the Emerald Tablets, the writings of Thoth, these are a depiction of the pillars that are in the halls of Anamenti. And if you guys know anything about the halls of Anamenti, it talks about the path to the flower of life, talks about the 7 lords and their abilities and what they're able to do. But going back to the sacred symbol of Mu, what's very important to understand is that they are always seen in 4, and this is one of the most common symbols that you will find in the Egyptian culture, is this one here at the top, and this one here in the middle, and of course the square. And anytime, as I said in the previous video with life force energy, when you see a grouping of 4 in such a manner, it always represents the primary forces. And I'm just going to go ahead and read this to you. And this is the one with the symbol that is often referred to when we are talking about the Jedi, or the heretic symbol, the letter H. So this is the heretic symbol, letter H. And I'm just going to read it to you. And it says the letter H in the alphabet of Mu. This was the alphabetical symbol of the 4 creative forces, or primary forces. So the temple was dedicated to the 4 great primary forces. So below are shown the 2 pillars, one each of the 4 sections. And when they refer to the 4 pillars, they are referring to this guy here and this guy here. So those are symbols that are carved in on the pillars when you go to Egypt, or when you see old construction. And even this is a Jedi. And when I speak of Jedi, not in the spelling of J-E-D-I, when I speak of Jedi, I speak of it in D-J-E-D-I. And so this helps to align energy chakras. If you want to know more about this particular Jedi pendant, where I got it from, you can put it in the comments below. But this here is in combination and conjunction with life force energy. So if you go back, watch the previous videos to really get an understanding of what life force energy is. But you ever wonder where, the most common and most popular phrase, use the force, Luke? He was talking about connecting to the 4 primary forces that Creator has sent out, and then bring that energy back into self. And this is where the essence of all of this culminates, of being the Jedi and wanting to have access to this energy, using the force and understanding the force. It takes time, it takes practice, but anyone could achieve that when you understand the symbology of the ancient symbols, the sacred geometry that truly exists in our world. When you begin to understand it, begin to see it, every shape has a purpose, every shape has a meaning, no matter what it is. They even, have access to this grand library of shapes. And so the Jedi energy, the Jedi shape, the square, the heretic letter H, the 4 pillars, it all represents strength, it represents energy, the magnetic forces, the centrifugal forces, the elements, earth, air, fire, water, spirit, creator. So it represents all of this. So when we step into that space of really understanding the consciousness and the purpose of this energy bringing order, because you hear about the Jedi Order, the responsibility, the purpose of the 4 primary forces was to bring order to the universe. So when you hear all this lore about Star Wars, and hear all this lore about everything else, do your research and understand where it comes from, because the lore is true, because it started in a civilization that was over 70,000 years ago, and through Atlantis, through Egypt, it was maintained through the Osirian religion. And when we have that context, we truly begin to understand that we carry that force energy, we carry this light within us, and we bring order to self, bring order to others, and just have this immense ability to tap into this great power that is life force, this great power that is the Jedi, the great force that is who we are essentially. So remember who you are. Carry it with you if you need be, just as a reminder, but it's just so much essence, so much power, so much beauty in the simplicity of who we are as beings. So remember who you are, my dear ones. Until next time, have a beautiful and amazing day.